from Elite Hair Care USA and Elite Total Body Care. So today is a different video. This is going to be a cook with me video. You guys know that I have a passion for culinary as well. So that's another reason why I decided to do a lot of my cook with me stuff. You know, you guys know I like to always do stuff like that. So anyhow, today I'm going to try a new recipe, which is not really a new recipe, but I don't really do it this way very often. Usually if I make cod, it's just more like fish and chips, or I'll just steam it in a pot. So today I'm going to do pan-seared blackened cod, and the kids are going to eat mac and cheese with theirs. We will eat some steamed vegetables with ours. So I did it the cheat way. I didn't get any fresh cod this time around. So I cheated. I did. I cheated. So I got frozen cod, which I had thawing. I had it thawing out in the sink. And then I'm just going to go ahead and season it up. All right, so let's go ahead and first things first, of course, we're going to wash our cod. People seem to like skip that part of the process. So I'm just gonna cut these open. They're already in fillet, so I don't have to really do much. I don't know why people think that seafood is so clean, and these things go through like processing plants and packing plants. So what I'm doing right now is opening them and putting them into a bowl of water that I'm going to add some lemon or lime juice to, and a very small amount of vinegar. And then we'll start with the cooking part. Hi. So I've been working silently on some cookware and a seasoning blend. I'm not there yet, so don't bother ask, because I know a lot of you gonna be like, ooh, where, and all that stuff. I haven't done anything just yet, so don't bother ask me, because I'm just working on it. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit of lemon juice in there. You can use lime, lemon, whichever one. You're really just cleaning your seafood, that's all. Guys, Alex, my kids are so loud. Alex, I'm on live. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for a second while I discard this. In the meantime of that sitting for a second, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the sink. It's not gonna sit for very long. Hey. It's not gonna sit for very long. So what we're gonna use is, we have our pot. Most people like to use cast iron. I don't have a cast iron pot. We're gonna use my regular pan here. And then for our seasonings, I'll bring you guys over here to my little seasoning area. All right, so for seasonings, because you're doing it blackened, there's no right or wrong way to blackening. A lot of people kind of get it confused. They think that there's a certain method to doing it and you got to use certain things. You use whatever you want to use to blacken or season your food. Some people use a little bit. Some people use a lot. Some people, their food look like it ain't got no color whatsoever. We ain't going to go there. Some people don't even put seasoning. So whatever you feel like using, that's what you use. So I use a good amount of seasoning, and I'll show you guys what I'm just kind of going through right now and picking them out. that, and I thought I had an onion powder, but it looks as though I do not, so I'll use that seafood seasoning. Oh, this is gonna drive me nuts. Okay. All right, good. So I have adobo, black pepper, Old Bay. I was gonna put oregano, but I feel like that's gonna burn in the pot, so I'll just use a little bit of Fisherman's seafood seasoning. And then for my blackening, I'm going to add paprika, a little bit of chili powder, a little bit of garlic powder, and a little bit of cumin. As I said, you put what you want when it comes on to the recipe for your blackening seasoning, okay? You can use a little bit of Mrs. Dash if you want, but because I'm gonna pan sear it, I don't want anything that's gonna leave behind burnt bits in the pan, because that does not taste good. So we're not gonna use it. We're gonna just use everything that is ground powder, okay? All right, so let's see now. All right, let me rinse off my fish really quick. In the midst of me rinsing off the fish, I'm gonna get a pan, okay? This pan is what I'm going to use to dry my fish. So the pan itself needs, we're gonna need some napkin. This is new. So you need some napkin, because your fish have to be really dry. All right, so what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna take a couple pieces right here. It's only 6 pieces of fish, so I'm gonna lay this on the pan, just like that. Woo, head itch. And what I'll do is I'll just turn you guys around so you can possibly see what I'm doing. I'm not gonna put any lemon pepper. We do not like the taste of lemon in our food. I don't know why, we just don't. All right, let's see if I can get you guys close enough. There we go. All right, good. So my fish, I'm just gonna rinse it off. Okay. And then I'll just lay it on the pan. These pieces are actually a nice size, so I actually like them. All right, and then my last piece here. And then I'm gonna rinse out my bowl. I'll wash it when I'm done. Okay, so we have it on one side, and then all I'm gonna do is take my napkin and just literally pat it dry, just like this. I'm gonna get a plate, because what I'm gonna do is, while I am mixing my seasoning, after I pat it dry, I'm gonna put it in the freezer for a couple, not even couple minutes, couple seconds maybe, and that's gonna help to get a lot more of that moisture out. Some people will put it in the refrigerator for like an hour. I am doing it the faster way. Put it in the freezer while I get my seasonings together. Nothing too hard. And when it's frozen cod, you got to make sure you get all that water out. There's a lot of water in this. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the freezer for a second. What? Yeah. All right, there we go. I know you guys are asking tons of questions, but dang, where you get those fish, they don't be that big frozen here. They do hold a lot of water. Yes, they do. Okay, so we're gonna get our blackening seasoning together. Now you can use your air fryer if you choose to. I'm gonna use a pan. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take some paprika. Some cumin. Garlic powder. This might not be enough for those big amounts of pieces or big pieces that I have, but we're gonna start it with this. And some chili powder. I like spice. My kids like spice to an extent. And then a little bit of seafood seasoning. And it has some celery bits and stuff in it, right? I'm gonna take a fork, just mix it up. All right, so we have our blackening. Got that. Okay, so that's ready. Let me read a couple of your questions. We have lemon pepper, but like I said, I'm not a big fan of lemon pepper on my food. I don't know why. I mean, I add just a couple drops just because that takes you on a little bit of that acidity, but I only like lemon pepper wings, to be quite honest. That's me. Lemon pepper wings to the rescue. All right, so I'm mixing that up again. And then why you keep seeing me do this is because I want the seasoning to kind of be together. Okay? If I can get everybody to close their chat for me and hit that thumbs up button, I would greatly appreciate you guys. I like to bring you guys different types of content and not just the same thing over and over and over and over again. That gets very boring. So that's why I let you guys into my other side of my love, which is cooking. Thank you guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set you guys right back here. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and take my fish out. Now, what you don't want the fish to do is you don't want it to get frozen. You just want to use the freezer to help evaporate some of that water. That's all, okay? That's all you want it to do. So we're going to go ahead and season our fish. Most people just use salt and pepper. Salt and pepper don't season food to me. So y'all just bear with me. So I'm going to put some adobo seasoning. Okay. Some black pepper. And then don't forget we have our blackening seasoning too. But there's no salt in the blackening seasoning. And then a little bit of Old Bay. You can exclude the Old Bay if you don't want a lot of that sodium. Okay? And then I don't do both sides because I know how salty this can get, so I just kind of rub them together. Reason being is once you add that blackening seasoning to it too, that's a lot of seasoning. So this is just to give that flavor, which is what we want. Alex! My kids are so loud. I'm going to get them in. They're going to get it real quick. All right, so let me go ahead and wash my hands. and then you dry your hands. Let's do that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is get our pot ready. I'll put you guys over here. So we're gonna get our pot ready. Welcome to the Hood Chef. All right, so we got our pot right here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on to about medium high. Put the rest of my seasonings away. And in the meantime of this doing its thing, I'm gonna go ahead and boil some water to make the kids their mac and cheese. And then I'll use this pot to make the veggies. Let's do that. All right, so that's our pot for the mac and cheese. I'll use the water back here. Turn that on. Put a little bit of Himalayan pink salt in the water. And then for our pan here, we're gonna use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. You can use light extra virgin, whichever one. I use this one because it was on sale at Publix, buy one, get one free. So it's not a particular type for me. Everybody has their thing, but not for me. All right, so that should be good. Okay, so we're gonna let that get nice and warm / hot. Okay, I am one of those people where I am a firm believer when it comes to frying fish, your pot needs to be hot. All that putting fish in a cold pot, that's how your fish sticks to the pan. Have you tried Himalayan salt? It's meeting. I have Himalayan pink salt right now. All right, so while that's going, we have our blackening seasoning here. I have my mac and cheese ready. Some people also like to put butter in there for that extra fat content. It's really by choice. I do add a little bit of butter. I feel like it does enhance the flavor. Some people are like, girl, this is like a cholesterol lick. It probably is. Some people just use the butter by itself. I do both. Especially grass-fed butter. This is all flavor, you guys. That's all flavor. So if you're one of those people where you're so health conscious that it drives you nuts, don't watch. Thank you. All right, so our pan is nice and warm. Let me get my spatula here. Not this one. All right, so our pan is warm. There we go. Here it is right here. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your fish and then you just dredge it in your blackening seasoning. You literally just drop it in there. So your fish should look just like that. Okay? Blackened. And you lay it down and don't touch it. Ooh, I can smell the butter on it right now. Same thing. And don't touch it. You only touch fish one time when you're moving it, and that's all. So that's another reason why I wanted to use the butter, because I wanted that brown, nutty taste. People don't understand the difference that butter makes for certain things. So you let it sit on there for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. and then you flip it. So that's how it looks. And then I just shake my pan again. Okay. And then I have 4 pieces left. That should be more than enough. That should be more than enough. You guys see it? I'm thinking that I can fit 1 more piece in there, so I'm gonna do that. You just don't want to overcrowd your pot. There we go. Just like that. So you guys see what I'm doing? You see how it looks? Right? All right, in the meantime of that happening, I'm going to turn you guys around to me. Thank you. So I'm going to cut up our veggies that we're going to be using. I think they are ready to be flipped. Let's see. Yes, they are. That looks good. All right, so I'm going to bring you guys to see what it looks like. What are you guys doing? So I just flipped it. Okay, so that's what it looks like. This one is not ready yet. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. Get my cutting board. Get my pot. So while that's going, you guys are gonna come over here with me. So we have our cabbage here. We're real one-sided when it comes on to the types of veggies that we eat. Right, guys? What are you doing? Julie's clothes do not go in the dryer. You guys can wash those shoes over the weekend.
Okay.
All right.
Hmm?
You need to go bathe.
Okay.
And then you can do all of this.
Okay.
Thank you. Let me turn over my other one. Should be ready now. So I have that nice crust on it. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them on this pan. A little piece of parchment paper. Take them out and put them on this pan right here. Start my next set. So I'm taking out my cod. All right, so this is what the cod looks like right now. Blackened. our mac and cheese in. Hey, Sirius. I got my cookware from Finger Hut. So all I'm doing right now is just cutting up some cabbage, keeping an eye on my fish, which as soon as I'm finished with this piece, I'm gonna go ahead and turn over. So I wash my cabbage after I cut it up. Some people will do it before. I do it after. I feel like it needs to be like clean. But I feel I've seen a video of people who wash their collars and stuff and they use dishwashing liquid. I don't even understand that concept. So I'm just doing a rough chop of my veggies. And then while my cod is in the oven, I'm going to show you guys how I make gravy for my cod. And I'll show you the reasons why I don't like to put a lot of herby or rough brown seasonings on my my fish, because you'll see why in a second. Okay, you guys see this? This is just seasoning off of the fish. So imagine if it was oregano and all of that stuff. These are all the burnt bits. I am not going to be able to use this to do my aromatics as much as I want the flavor. So I'm going to have to rinse it out because it has that burnt seasoning in there, right? So all I'm going to do is do a one rinse and get the burnt seasonings out. Turn my stove down. Okay. My fish is gonna go into my oven on 350. For about 7 minutes. 8 minutes. Okay. And then in the meantime, we're gonna cut up our aromatics. So I have a shallot. You can use a shallot, you can use an onion. It's your choice. There's no right or wrong way to this. This is what I'm gonna use to make gravy. And you will see how I make my gravy. Everybody's gravy is gonna be different. But we don't like dry food. All right, so I'm taking the skin off of the shallot. So I got a shallot. I have a couple cloves of garlic. I have a piece of ginger. Okay. And then I'm gonna take out a tomato as well. I have a tomato, and then I have a baby bell pepper. So I got a vine ripe tomato. Just one. Take that off. And then I'm going to use the red and the yellow baby bell pepper. so I'm gonna clean these off really quick. I guess you guys want to see, right? Okay, here. It won't let me turn you guys around. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna wash these off real quick over here. This knife is so dull. Shallot. And last, I'm just gonna scrub off my ginger with my hand. I don't really peel the ginger. It's not a huge deal, but I don't really peel it. Alright, so the same pan that I had my fish in, I'm gonna just put my seasonings in there after I cut them up. This knife is so dull. Let's see if this one is much better. So for my tomato, it's overripe. It's actually about to go rancid soon. So I'm just gonna cut it up like that. Put it into my little plate right here. Same thing with this one. Nothing fancy, you guys. It's gonna cook out anyway. It's gonna get nice and mashy. We're gonna use this to make our gravy. Right? Alright, for the ginger, I'm just gonna smash it like that. Leave it just like that and put it there. Our bell peppers, I just cut them in half. They're only baby bell peppers, you guys, so it's not much that you can really do with these. And I just give them a little slice. It's a little rough chop. We like the aromatics to show in our food, so that'll go there too. We'll do the garlic last, and then our shallot. Okay, and then the big pieces, I just kind of cut them in half like that. Put those there. I'm just gonna use the whole shallot because it's a small one, so it doesn't really make a huge difference. These actually have more flavor to me than regular onions. All right, and then for our garlic, we're just gonna give it a rough smash. Just like that. We keep ours whole. The kids can pick it out of their food so they can tell the huge difference between it. All right. So I'm sure you guys are like, oh, question. Let's see. The staple of a Jamaican meal. Love it. Just coming in, what are you making? Pan-seared cod with vegetables and macaroni and cheese. No, I'm not making saltfish. I'm not making saltfish. All right, so while the pot is on the stove, I'm just gonna rinse off my cabbage here. All right, so my cabbage is here. With some butter to put in the cabbage. Cabbage is gonna steam its own water, so you don't really have to do a lot with cabbage. Put a little bit of seasoning in there. I season everything. I don't leave any seasoning out. I'm notorious for that, y'all. I season everything. Yes, I eat ackee. Do I make it a lot? No, not really. Alright. And then my little trick when I'm making steamed cabbage is instead of me adding a little bit of water, I add a little bit of chicken stock. Okay, and then we use that one. Right? Alright, let me get my pot cover. I'm gonna need one for that. And then I'm gonna need one for my frying pan here. Yeah. So we're gonna put our frying pan back on the stove. And then I'm gonna there you go. So you can see what I'm doing. So the same pot that I used before is back on the stove. Okay, didn't I just turn it off? Alright, good. So we put our pan back on the stove. I'm gonna take this butter, put it in there. Listen, this is not for the health conscious 100%, okay? I'm just telling y'all right now. What we making today is not for the extra health conscious. Once again, this is grass-fed butter. Very important. So while that's going, this is when I'm gonna take my garlic and put it in there first. I use a lot of garlic. And I'm gonna take my ginger and throw that in there too. Okay, so garlic and ginger first while my butter melts down. I'm gonna turn my stove up. I love Kerrygold. Alright, so while that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in my aromatics, which is our shallot, our tomato, our bell peppers. So this kind of look like if you was gonna make saltfish or something. So I'm gonna let this cook. I have my chicken stock ready because I'm gonna use that. Let's clean up the rest. Alright, so here's the secret to it now. So most people will add flour or make a roux to make this thick, right? I don't do that. I use ketchup, a little bit of spice, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm using some Tico Rico. If you guys remember my client that I told you guys about, that they make their own hot sauce. So I'm gonna put a little bit of Tico Rico. It gives flavor, you guys, okay? That's the whole purpose of it. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Probably like a tablespoon. Okay? And then lastly, instead of using flour, I'm gonna use ketchup, which is also gonna give my food some color, give it a little bit of flavor, and remember, it has cornstarch in it. So the cornstarch is gonna act as a thickener when I add my chicken stock. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is just pour some chicken stock there. Mix it really well. You see how thick it got just that fast? Because the ketchup has cornstarch in it. So I don't have to add any flour. And I don't need to add any color. So I add my stock slowly because I don't want to break my gravy. I don't want it to turn into like a soup. I want it to kind of thicken up as I put it in. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more. Remember, I have a couple pieces of fish that I'm gonna put in here, so I do want to make sure. That it's not a small pan. I'm gonna turn my heat down. Okay, so if you guys notice, the sauce is still a nice thick consistency, but not too thick. Okay, if you add your chicken stock slowly, it will not water down your gravy or your sauce. You're welcome. All right, so if you guys notice, my gravy is not watered down. You don't want watered down gravy, okay? That's why I add my chicken stock slowly. So I'm gonna take a spoon really quick. This is when I'm gonna taste it to see if I need to add anything. I feel like I want to add some black pepper to it. I don't want to go and add more like spice, because remember the fish has spice on it too. You're welcome, baby. Okay. Now I'm going to add my last bit of chicken stock. And you guys will see why in just a moment. And once it brings itself up to a boil this time, I'm going to add my fish. Check out my cabbage here. All right, so I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna let this bring itself up to a boil. Just stir around my cabbage to distribute my little seasoning. I didn't put anything else in the cabbage like carrots or anything like that. It's just cabbage today. I didn't put any onion or nothing in there because I have so much flavor going on already. We don't really need flavor on top of flavor on top of flavor. So for my cabbage, I just use some butter, a little bit of adobo, and some black pepper, and we're good. But you can add what you want. I'm gonna turn my stove down there. All right, so just that fast, our gravy has brought itself back up to a boil, right? So right now, it's kind of runny. It's not extremely runny, it's just kind of runny. Let me check it again. It's good. It's good. My daughter made this pot cover, Adriana. She knit this for me. And I haven't given it up. As little as it is, I still use it. Alright, so we got our fish. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my fish in there. You just don't want your fish to break, so you want to be really gentle with it. And I'm going to show you guys how you shake your pan when your fish is in there. Okay, so we put our fish back in there. I'm going to take my pot cover. I'm going to cover it just like that. How you distribute the gravy on your fish without disturbing it, you hold the pot cover, and if you have two handles, you can do that. This pot only has one. So all I'm doing is literally, I'm not lifting the pot off the stove. I'm literally moving the pot around and allowing everything in the pot to just kind of shimmy. And that is how you distribute your gravy onto your fish. You guys can see that. Without breaking your fish. It's the same way you would do when you steam fish, because you don't want the fish to get like broken apart and flaky in the pot and fall apart. You do it this way and you can literally get your gravy all over everything without breaking your fish. So if you notice, my fish is still whole. It's still whole, you guys. And this is another reason why I said I didn't want my sauce to get way too thick, because once I add the fish, the sauce got thicker. Alright, so what I'm going to do is turn my stove down now. Let that do its thing for about 2 to 3 minutes. Because you're not cooking the fish. You're really just allowing gravy to get into your fish. The fish is cooked. Right? Alright, so let's clean up now. Get all of this stuff out of the way. I have my mac and cheese right there. I use parchment paper with my fish. So I don't really need anything else from there. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're just gonna get ourselves cleaned up, right? My macaroni and cheese. The mac and cheese is nothing special, y'all. It came out of a box. Nothing too special. All I'm gonna do is throw some cheese in there. So even though my mac and cheese came out of a box, I still grated my cheese into my mac and cheese. I'm one of those people. All right, for my fish, I'm gonna turn off the stove. It's on low anyway, right? Our cabbage is cooked, so that can go over to the side as well. We're gonna turn that off too. My mac and cheese is here. I got my little grater here. The cheese that I'm using is medium cheddar. I like the taste of the grated cheese over that nasty packed cheese that they put there. I don't want that. Alright, so while that's going on, man down, man down, man down. All right, I'm gonna turn my stove on. There we go. I have a little bit of milk, just enough to melt my cheese here. But I always start it off by putting my cheese first. I'll probably end up using this whole block because they like it cheesy. It is Rachel Ray's set. I had Emerald Lagasse set first. Now I have Rachel Ray. She says she got them from Finger Hut. I did. I got these from Finger Hut. So they were saying basically they increased my credit. I stopped using my credit. And they were like, oh, we're going to decrease your credit if you don't buy something. So I said, okay, well, I'll buy some pots because I wanted some new pots anyway. And then I just paid it off the next week. But the purpose was for me to just use the credit and keep my credit because I'm building it. So. I feel like I can put a little bit more milk. I normally would put butter too, but I didn't put any today. A little bit of pink salt. Some pepper. This last bit of cheese. And then dinner will be done. So we cooked an entire meal in 54 minutes. Mac and cheese with grated cheese, steamed vegetables, which is just steamed cabbage, pan seared cod, and gravy. And we finished it off in the oven. And we made the gravy from scratch. And we did that in 55 minutes. Now tell me, if you can't make this meal in 1 hour, honey. Alright, I'll show you guys my mac and cheese in just a moment. I feel like I want to add some butter, but I'm trying not to add any butter. I feel like I've already put enough butter. Even though butter makes everything better. So like this is the kind of ooey gooey mac and cheese that I like my mac and cheese to be ooey gooey, like ooey gooey, you know what I mean? Like ooh, gooey, gooey, gooey. That's my mac and cheese. No, you guys, hold on. I want you guys to see my ooey gooey. My cheese. You see that cheese? Y'all see that ooey gooey cheese? Now, if you don't want it to be too ooey gooey, you can add a little bit of milk or you can add a little bit of butter. I'm not going to add any more butter. I prefer the milk over the butter. Dairy and dairy. They're all in the same family. You can also use evaporated milk. I use evaporated milk too. So you can also use evaporated milk because it's a little bit thicker, or you can use heavy cream. Look at that. Y'all see that? All right, so